This is The Discourse with Dr. Ken.
This is The Discourse with Dr. Ken. We promised that this was going to be a fantastic Sunday, and you can see how sunny it is. I hope you've come back from church. Thank you for tuning in as usual. The Discourse says you'll be sharper with Dr. Ken, but okay, you're looking sharp already. You didn't need Dr. Ken, isn't it?
Good afternoon, Dr. Ken. It's such a pleasure being here with you today.
Very good. So, my guest today, like you've heard the voice, I shouldn't have revealed her, but like you heard the voice is Okechukwu Anthony. Onyebule, by the way, means making no killer.
Yes. Don't kill.
Don't kill.
You know, I'm not selfish. In my family, we are not selfish. You know, some people will say Onyebule, which is particular.
Yes.
But we say Onyebule.
Don't kill in general.
Yes, at all.
Very good. So my guest, Okey Bakasi, and today's topic we'll have to discuss is the business of comedy. By the way, 2 weeks ago we had RMD here and we discussed the business of showbiz, and it was trending big time. And because of popular request, we decided to take another aspect of the business of showbiz, which is comedy. So today we are going to discuss the business of comedy with Okey Bakasi. Welcome to the studio, Okey Bakasi.
Thank you so very much.
Now, let me take his profile as is usual and as traditional with this program. Okey Bakasi Anthony is an A-list Nigerian stand-up comedian. He's a graduate of the Rivers State University and holds a bachelor's degree in agricultural engineering. Okey Bakasi has 3 decades. When we mean 3 decades, 30 years experience in the provision of quality entertainment in business solutions, a top-class events host and producer. He is one of the founding fathers of the Nigerian movie industry, Nollywood, and a member board of trustees, Actors Guild of Nigeria, and Movies Directors Guild of Nigeria. Okey Bakasi served Imo State as Special Advisor on Entertainment Industry Matters between 2008 to 2011 and contributed to the creation of the self-sustaining legacy for entertainment in Imo State. Okey Bakasi Anthony is a philanthropist and a supporter of charities. He is married with children. Okey Bakasi, the producer, just said he is married with children. He didn't bother to elaborate. Was that deliberate?
He's married to one wife and he has 3 children. So if we're going to specifics, for the avoidance of doubt. Yeah.
Very good. Welcome again. So let me start with this profile. I see somewhere here you are synced with the Imo State government, which is with government generally.
Yeah.
How did it feel? What was the experience?
Yeah, in fact, it's an experience that no institution in the world, Harvard, Yale, just name them, none of Oxford, none of them can give you that kind of hands-on experience. You know, I was here in Lagos just doing my thing in the showbiz industry. Went to a forum where the then governor of Imo State was present, and you know, in the course of the Q&A session, you know, when I asked a few questions, and he said, "You're from Imo State. Come to Imo State. Let us all join hands together and build a state." You know, I thought he was joking. I thought it was another political promise. You know, so. Well, cut long story short, went to Imo State, started working with the government. Then I learned firsthand that how you can go from enjoying a huge fan base and the love of the people to become a part of the problem just because you serve the public. You know, you just, that
swing,
it will just swing. Not because of anything you've done wrongly, just by mere perception of the people. You know, and how, you know, the people also contribute to the kind of leadership that they get. You know, because here I was in Lagos doing my thing, nobody's stressing me except maybe a few family and friends. Then suddenly you start working for government, everybody expects that you pay their bill. You suddenly become the favorite for chairmanship of events in your local government.
Yes.
Everybody feels that you should donate to one function or the other. You know, meanwhile, your income is less than what I was making when I was in showbiz.
Private business.
Yeah, private business. So where is the extra supposed to come from? So we put this pressure on political appointees, which in turn results in them dipping their hands into the coffers. You understand? To meet up the kind of lifestyle that we expect.
I can imagine, okay. In fact, we'll talk about this deeper during the course of the program. Let's go into it straight away. You know, the discourse, we try to focus more on the business side of things. Why do we do that? Because we want people turning their talents into assets so that they can tap value from it. But generally, the term show and business, can they come together really? How does it fit? How you see them?
Oh yes, they can very well go together. In fact, the new mantra these days is let us mix business with pleasure. Yeah, before they say don't mix business with pleasure, but now we say let's mix business with pleasure because we have only one life to live, and there's no time to separate both. You understand? So while you're doing this, you might as well just be doing this at the same time.
It needs rebalancing, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. If you can multitask. So fortunately, when you now find yourself in a business that gives you that opportunity to actually, not literally, actually mix business and pleasure, then it's fantastic. So we are in the business of creating. For me, that is how I see what I do. I'm in the business of creating happiness, and while doing, you can't give what you don't have.
Okay.
All right. So while we make people happy, we charge something for it to keep the wheel of progress oiled constantly.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is what we do, and in the whole process, you create a value chain that benefits everybody. Even beyond the creatives.
Yeah, okay, fantastic. You see, though I'm tired of the word potential for Nigeria, but everything seems to be at the potential stage. So even the industry, the creative industry, it has huge potentials. Now, this creative industry should actually contribute to our national GDP big time if we know what we are doing with it, both as platform and both as content. But in your own estimation, which policy can catalyze Nigeria from potential to the global power, especially as it concerns the creative economy?
Okay, so like you rightly mentioned, since Nollywood fully evolved, Nollywood has constantly contributed to national GDP. In fact, when Goodluck Jonathan's administration did the rebasement of the economy, it was the factoring in of Nollywood that helped push us ahead of South Africa. South Africa, at that time. If we had sustained on the momentum that was being created by that administration, we probably would have been going somewhere by now. So some of those things that will catalyze it, if you ask me, one will be infrastructural development.
Okay.
There's huge infrastructural decay in Nigeria. We're still talking about 5,000 megawatts sometimes, and it keeps fluctuating and dropping below 5,000 megawatts. The kind of products that the entertainment sector produces is one that you must consume with light, with power. You understand? So if you
can produce with power.
So I mean, and has to be produced with power. So if we still have epileptic supply of electricity and non-supply in some areas, like if you go to my village, there's no light there. So how are these people going to benefit from the value chain that is entertainment industry when we are still struggling to have power? Another one is internet penetration. It has to get to all the nooks and crannies of Nigeria for people to. The way people consume entertainment material is beginning to change. Most young people now consume on their devices, and that is internet right there. So if internet is not able to penetrate everywhere in Nigeria, you see that infrastructure is playing a major role. It's creating so much deficit for us. So now once we've done that, another one is institutions. All right. Now, and when I talk about institutions, I'm talking about several governments now are beginning to toy with Minister of Creative Economy. But I don't think that they fully understand it, because one thing is to create a ministry, another thing is who do you put in charge of that ministry? Are you just creating another portfolio for political allies to see something to do?
You're quite right there, because there's a difference between knowing and understanding.
Exactly. Are you just creating a portfolio so that another party member or party loyalist can just have something that he's doing, or you're very, very serious about it? So these are the issues. When we will have these ministries, let us put in the personnel that understand the task, that can take it from day one, because
create value out of it.
Exactly, because the sector has the ability to transform. Apart from agriculture, the entertainment industry is the second highest creator of youth labor.
Wow.
You understand? So it's not something to joke with. It's not what you give to your political friends to just manage, and they'll just be there collecting salary.
It should be more serious after security, really.
Yes.
Because it has security arm to it.
It
and
has
implication.
security.
Because if you engage this youth, then you would have dealt with the issue of restlessness and
Dr. Ken, you're spot on. You're
Yes.
very, very correct. Because once you go public as an entertainer, you can't go back to a life of crime.
Yes.
Because you can't hide anymore. There's no A-list celebrity today that can go and involve in kidnapping or armed robbery.
Yes.
People will know you from once they see you.
From a distance, yes.
And that's the beauty of entertainment business. Once you have that exposure, you cannot go back to hiding again.
Yes.
So these are the issues. So the institutions that will enable the creative sector thrive, regulatory body to make sure that everybody takes this thing serious down the chain. Then of course access to funding. Funding is everything.
We'll come to funding.
Yes.
In fact, this topic you talked about potential and how government can understand, not just knowing. RMD hammered on it so much when he was sitting right here where you're sitting right now.
This is The Discourse with Dr. Ken.
1st of October, Okey Bakasi, it
Yeah.
was 30, and you celebrated big time.
Yes.
Isn't it? Was it worth celebrating? 30?
Oh yes,
Whoa.
yes. 30 in every career or every profession is a huge milestone. That deserves celebration, and that was exactly what we did. Thank you very much. You were there as well, and I really appreciate your coming through.
Yes.
You were there
And enjoyed myself totally.
Yeah, I'm glad you did enjoy yourself. So we had to celebrate because, like I said, in any other business, it would have been celebrated. And in fact, in some, once you put in 30 years, you're getting ready for retirement.
Yes.
But fortunately for us, we belong to a business that does not have retirement or entry age.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Now let's talk finance, because again, like I keep mentioning RMD because it's still within the same basket, entertainment, and even though we are zeroing on comedy today. But when I asked him, I saw the frustration the creatives have when it has to do with financing, and you picked on it when we talked about potential in Nigerian economy.
Yeah.
How does creatives understand and tap from financial institutions? Do they actually understand that it's not only about passion, but there is need to put together some architecture, business architecture that is bankable, that they can take to the banks and enjoy then that kind of patronage from banks?
Okay, so it's two ways. One is the burden of the industry to be able to structure itself in such a way that they can attract the kind of funding that they want. Another one is on the part of the institutions, the financial institutions in Nigeria, to also position itself so that they become relevant in this large sector that is relatively untapped. So having said that, I'll borrow from an experience that I had in Canada. At some point, I went to the bank with my wife and, to do some banking transactions. It was interesting how you had an officer at the bank who can sit with you and enlighten you on what to do with your money, how to invest, it was the first time for me that I will walk into a bank and there's a desk for someone to actually pull me aside and say, look, this is what we can do for you as a bank, and this is, just giving you that financial education.
We have that in Nigeria. Unfortunately, it's been dispensed by foreign banks in Nigeria, not the Nigerian local banks.
Exactly. So you understand what I'm talking about. So most times when we go to our banks here, we have long queues and crowd, and everywhere is looking. It's
like
not
a marketplace.
It's not a conducive environment where you're
discuss business.
Yes, where you're imagining that is even possible. And in the heat of all that, you can't imagine any staff having the luxury of time to single you out to say, okay, let's go and talk about your life and your future.
Ideas,
and your ideas. So like I said, on the part of our industry, we must be able to put ourselves together. Is it cooperatives? Is it, create the kind of education that we need so that people understand that, okay, the banks are not charity organizations. They are not just going to hand you money and say, go and do whatever you like with it and come back whenever you want. That you need to tick some boxes and meet some certain requirements for you to be able to access funds. So we, on our own as an industry, we need to be able to educate ourselves properly. But on the side of the banks as well, if I'm a customer in your bank and my turnover or my deposit is beginning to touch a certain amount, I think it makes sense for a staff of the bank to pull me aside and say, look, we have seen you as a customer. We've seen the volume that you're doing here. We're interested in helping you grow further. You know, this is the kind of symbiotic relationship that we should have with our financial institutions that can help grow everybody. You know,
so apart from the transaction, there should be advisory.
Yes.
So that's basically what you're saying.
Yes.
Banks on their own must understand that ideas are bankable.
Yes.
Then the creatives themselves should understand that talent, yes, you have, but the creative himself needs to be managed.
Exactly.
That's what
spot on.
What you said.
You know, the banks, not to preempt you or anything, but you see, how many banks in Nigeria have like a creative economy unit manned by people who understand the sector? You understand? Because you also, like we're talking about government, you also need people who understand the sector. Because our sector is also high risk.
Yes.
Yeah, like most businesses. So you need people who understand our sector in those units, so that when you bring in a proposal, they can look with you and see that, okay, we see,
they can process it, they can interpret it.
And these are areas where we can manage you that you don't know so much about, and we can work together. You know, so.
Okay, great. Before we go on break, let me take you on this lane. You know, there's when you cannot talk creativity, you can't talk comedy, you can't talk entertainment without going to intellectual property.
Yeah,
it's a big problem. Both here and globally. So please tell us about the concept of intellectual. This is in your own, not that we don't know, but how do you understand it and what makes intellectual property?
You see, intellectual property, these are intangible creations of the human intellect.
Okay.
All right? So what society has been able to do is to protect it in such a way that whoever is the originator of an idea or a creator of, you know, whatever body of work can benefit from that creativity in such a way that they are inspired to create more. All right? So there are patents, there are trademarks, trade secrets, copyrights. All these things form intellectual property. So all these things, the law frames it in such a way because the law recognizes that it's not like really landed property where you can fence around and, you know, people can't trespass. You know, then you can get security people to man it. Intellectual property, this most times when you create and you put it in the market space, you have no means of controlling it again. It's prone to abuse. Okay. So the law has to some way protect that property, but there has to be balance as well, so that, you know, in protecting you, they don't also deprive society of the benefits of that your creation. Okay. So it's a balance. That's what the concept of intellectual property is about.
Okay, great. There are a couple of questions here, but just because if I take all, then we won't have time for this program today. But one of them specifically is saying, because he and I see a struggle here, because somebody who is a celebrity, you have the opportunity for endorsements. Sometimes you endorse products, you endorse services, you endorse institutions. But when it comes to politics, would you blame a creative who takes an endorsement from a political party or an individual who is a politician that is in his own or in the society's perception not very popular?
You know, the thing is that's a very slippery slope.
Yes.
You understand?
And that's a question from Tony Nikeja.
It's a very slippery one.
Yes.
So, okay, when it comes to endorsements, you know, when you're dealing with products and companies and all that, you know, I put it in the realm of pure business. Okay. All right?
It is business.
Yes, business. Yes. Now, when we go into politics, there's a bit of civic responsibility involved in politics. Okay. Where it becomes a function of my ideology more than business. Yes. So if I'm going to put an endorsement somewhere, I have to a reasonable extent, you understand, be leaning towards that ideologically. Yes. You get? So that for me to now say, okay, I'm going to endorse because
it requires belief.
Yeah, for endorse XY party or Mr. XY politician, there must be something that he's selling that I believe in.
That connects with you.
That connects with me. Yeah. Then if he adds money to it, better. That's where we mix that business and pleasure. Yeah, but
Yes.
all of them come with their own risk, though.
Yes. I should take you into education now because this is an area that is of huge interest with me because we talk education, skills acquisition, capacity building, etc. But the question is, we have education quite all right. We have platforms, we have institutions. Now, is our educational curriculum fit for purpose, especially as it concerns the creative industry?
No, I would say no. You know, I think what we basically have, we just have theater as departments of universities, and some of them, by the very nature of how they operate, are becoming a bit obsolete. They just same old thing of how many years ago that
templated already.
Yes, that is not moving anything forward. You know, the world is changing. You know, and we must the way education is now, you must give people the kind of education that is relevant to what they want to do.
Okay.
You know,
and what society wants.
Yeah, and
what the market wants.
What the market wants. We've moved from the A for apple, B for boy kind of education now. You know, so I think that a lot has to be done in that sector. Do public institutions have the capacity for now to do it? I doubt, because they are even still struggling to manage the ones they already have. You know, unfortunately, you know, our institutions are not known these days for any kind of innovation. They are starved of funding. ASU is perpetually on strike. You know, government is saying they can't even pay minimum wage. There are lots of problems. So what it means is that it will be in the purview or in the hands of private institutions to now begin to organize all these other ones, you know, acting school, directing school, you know, film school, and the likes. And possibly also, if we can, you know, have across the border relationships with other countries who are big in this sector, like a marriage between Nollywood and Hollywood, that can see them establishing studios here, and with it comes the capacity to train, and you know, so all that can happen. But whether we are built for purpose now, education-wise, the answer is no. Can we do more? Yes.
Yes. So what I hear you say is that what we've done for 30 years or more is that we've taken the gown to town most of the time, but we should now learn to take the town to gown. What I mean is that take people who are experienced, tweak your curriculum, and make sure that it's fit for purpose. On that junction, I will go for break. You hang in there, listener. I'm sure you're enjoying the show with Okey Bakasi.
This is The Discourse with Dr. Ken.
I'm going to take Okey Bakasi to a bit of tech because there's a lot, you know, we know and how tech has affected all of us. Some months ago here, we discussed artificial intelligence, and by the way, it is coming to your industry.
Yes, big time.
But the role of tech and all that we do, that we have discussed. But what role of tech in the creative world and in comedy in particular? Are you seeing that coming? Do you guys who are in this field begin to understand and require adjustments?
You see, the thing is that entertainment business has tech written all over it. You understand? Showbiz has tech all over it. You know, right from time. And the technology in the showbiz sector is one that is constantly changing with the speed of light. From the cameras that you use, like we started from the days of pneumatic camera to Betacam, from Betacam to where we are now. You understand? And before you blink, there's another camera in the market. So tech is everything tech. Non-linear editing, special effects, color grading, everything about you know, content creation is tech. You know, and like we said earlier, which is why I said our education is not purpose built, because by now we should be thinking about education that will empower more people to begin to play more roles in all these other tech sectors that is around the entertainment industry. You know, so takes us back again to government. Are they serious about Ministry of Creative Economy? You understand? Do these people even understand what they want to dabble into? You know, so all these things. And yes, if they are serious, will there be light? You know, so there's a whole lot to unpack. But you see, like our sector is tech dependent, and like you said, with the coming of AI now, we are still struggling with light. Remember, and we are still struggling to get basic education of what we are doing. Now AI is upon us. AI is upon us. That is even more sophisticated, more advanced.
And the world is global. It's not waiting for us.
Nobody is not, are we not on the same market?
Yes.
I mean, Nigerian contents are now on all the main streaming platforms. You know, Amazon, Netflix, you just name them. So they are not waiting for you. You must meet that global standard. How you want to meet it is your business. You know, so. But fortunately, our colleagues are not waiting for government. That is what has survived Hollywood. That is what has helped us.
It's been 90% self-help, isn't it?
Self-help. You know, because if we waited for these people, the people in Abuja are confused. They don't even know what they're doing. I think it's a classical case of the worst of us ruling the best of us. You know, and it's slowing everybody down.
Okay, we'll get that. We'll get back to that topic for a different day, whether we'll have the right leadership or not. But I agree with you. Leadership is everything. Once you don't get leadership right, then you cannot get the channels right, and there is nothing to lead in any case. Now, there are a couple of messages, and this guy says he loves Okey Bakasi, and he loves many other comedians and humor merchants that you have seen. But what is the Okey Bakasi brand? How does he describe Okey Bakasi brand?
Okay, so let me put it this way. I think I mentioned it earlier on. My personal mantra is the pursuit of happiness. I am in this business on this planet solely for the pursuit of happiness. And that has been the mantra on which I've built my career. You know, for me to be able to do that, then I must also be a happy person. So the Okey Bakasi brand is all about happiness. You see us in your event, then you know that it's going to be fun. You see a movie that we're involved in, you know it's going to create a lot of happiness. You know, so whatever it is that we decide to go into, we want to give you that experience that will take you off your stress and put you in a place where you begin to see life as worth living. You know, you begin to hope and begin to dream dreams, because it only takes a mind that is that relaxed and that comfortable to be able to see all the beauty of the things that lie ahead. You know, so that is what the Okey Bakasi brand is. It's about happiness.
Okay, so that's good. So it's tied, you know, it revolves around happiness.
Yeah, most times when brand ambassadors come to me, when brands come to me to say, brand managers and the likes come to me to say, want you to be brand ambassador, I don't just jump at anything, because what I'm selling is not just the talent. I'm selling integrity.
Okay.
Yeah, that is where I'm different from a whole lot of other people who don't understand what they're doing. So while you're vetting me, I'm also vetting you. Unfortunately, these days, brand ambassadorship is all about who has the social media numbers. People are no longer looking at the character of who they are signing on. You know, as long as you have the followership, whether they are bought, acquired, or however generated, it doesn't matter to anybody anymore.
In most cases, there's misalignment between what the brand stands for
and what the brand ambassador is doing, or their lifestyle. You know, I've had people who have spent so much money trying to manage their brand ambassador instead of the brand, because they create so much scandal in their 1 year of contract.
The tail wags the dog in that instance.
Yes, exactly.
That would be very unfortunate. I can imagine that. Now, let's talk reputation. There's a lot of reputation damaging themes around Nigeria today. Is it music or movies, or is it... Listen, what is left out of Nigeria's image, especially abroad? Is it... maybe it's only entertainment now, music, comedy that can rescue this image. Instead of wasting money, you know, pretending that we have strategy for public relations, re-engineering for Nigeria. So these exports that come from the creative industry, do you believe that that is what Nigeria is hanging on to? And have we articulated as people and as government to say we already have this, so can we make better of it instead of beating about the bush?
Yeah, you see that that one is even so glaring for everyone to see. When last did you see anything positive about Nigerian image globally that does not have to do with entertainment? I can't remember. Anytime you see anybody talking about Nigeria positively on the world stage, it's about our musicians, it's about our sportsmen and women, it's about our movies, it's about... The entertainment sector is one sector that is constantly selling Nigeria positively to the rest of the world. On the contrary, who are the ones demarketing us? Our leaders. Everything negative about Nigeria is about our leadership. You know, so if you are an investor, where would you put your money? It's on the entertainment sector, you know, and it's a sector that keeps giving back. Every one A-list artist that is doing well is a company. And that one individual turnover is bigger than a lot of companies in Nigeria. If do you want to take like Davido, or you want to take like Burna Boy or Wizkid or Flavor or just any one of them, Ashake, take any one of them. What they have made this year in millions of dollars, if you convert it to Naira, how many institutions in Nigeria have made that turnover this year? That is what you will begin to ask yourself. So I mean, plus they make all this money and they are still bringing Nigeria positive image. But it will shock you to see that as a government, as a people, that sector, the youth development sector, it receives little or no attention. So you would think that the one bringing you all the positives and bringing all the foreign exchange that we require now to the country will get some level of attention. During COVID-19 is the sector that suffered the most. There was no palliative for the creative industry. There was no intervention. There was no assistance. It was comatose. And for the first time in the history of the sector, we recorded negative percentage when it comes to contribution to the GDP. You know, so but as soon as things return to normal again, it's on the up and up without government intervention.
Yeah, I hope somebody somewhere up there is listening, because the creative industry presents for us a huge opportunity. When we talk about diversification, we talk about foreign exchange, we talk about opportunities that are global and exportable, things that we can explore. Then most importantly, how do we keep our youth engaged?
Exactly.
Because it's not just an economic issue, it's a national security issue, keeping the youth engaged. Now, please, listeners, you can reach us on 090-921-72973. I take that again, 090-921-72973. There are a lot of messages, but I'll just take those that are very, very apt and relevant to today's conversation. You can also reach us on at Twitter at Classic FM 97.3. There are a lot of young people, from even what I'm seeing on the screen, trying to reach us, you know. So this is an area of career and life that they want to go into. I mean, low-hanging fruits, like you said at the beginning of the program. So what does it really take to be a creative? Who is a creative? What does it take? What would you be telling a 9-year-old who is looking at Okey Bakasi and say, you know what, there's a dream here, there's a career here?
Okay, so simple definition, all right? Seeing what people have been able to turn social media into. You can safely say today that everybody is a creative.
Okay.
Everybody. But who can create in commercial quantity?
Sustainability.
Yeah, sustainability, professionalism. Who can take it to the next level? Because if you put a little baby and make the baby babble all day, and you can get somebody take that sound and put it in a mixer, and you can create some sort of music from it, and it will become social media sensation. You understand what I'm saying? So there's no entry level or exit level for a creative. There's no way to even define who a creative is, because God in his wisdom has blessed everyone with a talent. All right. In fact, if you take your camera and follow a farmer to the farm and follow them from the process of clearing the bush to planting the seed to harvest, you create content. You understand what I'm saying? So yeah. So everybody is a creative, but who wants to do it as a career? You understand? Who wants to do it to the level where it begins to create jobs for other people down the line? You know, the printers, the journalists, even the lawyers who will do the contracts, and everybody who wants to do it to that extent. So that's a different thing. But generally speaking, everybody can be a creative.
Yeah, but I get that, okay. But like I said, a 9-year-old, you know. So should there be some basic education at least? Should there? What does it take? You know, just so that somebody wants to follow this.
Okay, so what I will say,
should the person think about to say, listen, on my own part, I have to lay some kind of foundation, then my talent will carry me through.
Okay, so for what I usually say to young people who come to me to say, look, I'm interested in stand-up comedy or acting, for example, is basic education. First of all, is a prerequisite for me. All right, because an educated vulcanizer will be better than an uneducated vulcanizer.
Yes.
Yeah. Anybody in any craft, if you have one very educated and one not educated, the educated one will have a better understanding of what they are doing and be able to brand and package better than the one
appreciate his environment.
Exactly. That lacks education. So that basic education for me is very important. You're selling in the global market, you should be able to communicate and speak the language of the world. And education is what gives you that. Now, having chosen the particular art form you want to give expression to, All right. You also need to learn the ropes.
Okay.
Mentorship is very, very important.
Okay.
Mentorship is very, very important.
Talk to me about mentorship. Did you benefit from that?
Oh yes, I did.
Okay.
I did, because I served, and there's a lot to learn when you're serving. First of all, I started practicing entertainment right from when I was in the university.
Okay.
So if I count the 30 years I've been practicing, I didn't count the years I was practicing as an undergrad.
Okay.
The 30 years is from when I said, this is what I will do for a living. That is the 30 years. So if I add the years that I was doing it, not knowing whether I'm going to really do this or not, of course, it's way more than 30 years that I've done this.
Okay.
So from that moment where I decided that this will be what will be paying my bills, I became intentional about how to develop it. All right, how to diversify it. I'm an Igbo man.
Okay.
Igbos will tell you, you have to look at multiple streams of income.
Yes.
So while what lured me into it was acting, in the course of doing that, I had to learn how to do props, location, production management, produce. I even directed at some point. I tried all of those other different aspects of the value chain to see that, okay, if this wasn't working at any time, I should be able to do this. And that is what has given me longevity in the business, because there was a time the movie side wasn't paying that much. I shifted my attention to the stand-up comedy side of things.
Okay.
And I focused my energy on that. And even with stand-up comedy, you want to be a successful comedian, oh my goodness, you must be able to study, soak up information wherever you find it. Watch, read, listen, be present. You must have clarity of mind, because stand-up comedy is the toughest art form, I can tell you that. Because it's you, the microphone, and your ability to tell good stories that will engage the public. And for you to do that, you must tell stories that will resonate with them, that they can relate to, irrespective of the audience. So for you to be able to tell stories that will cut across, then you must know everything, little of everything. You don't have to be a master of all, but you have to know little. I know things about Formula One, Tour de France, soccer, lawn tennis, just name it, war, and crisis,
everything about life,
history,
all comes in.
Wherever I see it, I'm interested. I want to know. I don't know which audience I'll meet tomorrow. You can pull me from here and suddenly I'm entertaining some war generals, maybe in Afghanistan.
Yes.
If they pay me, I will go there.
Yes.
You understand? And I should be talking about what they can understand.
What times,
Exactly. So
that's fantastic. I don't know. Let me pick on one other question here, which resonates with me. Is saying flatmate. Is this the same Okey Bakasi on flatmate? I think the answer is yes.
Yes.
He's saying that it is very curious how you relate with your wife in flatmate. Do you take that same kind of approach home?
Okay, so first of all, we're in the business of make-believe, which is acting.
Okay.
You understand? So in acting, you must be able to condition your mind. Once you've been given that script, you must be able to wear that character and play it effectively. And for you to be a very successful actor, you must also leverage on your own personal experiences.
Yes.
So I'm married, and I've been married for 22 years.
Okay.
It counts for something when it comes to delivering a role as a married person.
Okay.
Because I'm already equipped,
Yes.
for that kind of role.
Yeah.
So whether I can take it back home, no, I'm bringing home to the set.
Oh, you're bringing home to it. Fantastic. Now, Okey Bakasi. By the way, my guest today is Okey Bakasi. Okey Bakasi Makantoni Onyebule. Now, life of a celebrity, it has a sweet part, not so sweet part. And where there is a pain point, we equally have to balance it. So, what is your life experience? The sweet, not so sweet, and the pain points that come with it. How do you deal with all that? There's definitely the difficult part, not just enjoying the celebrity, isn't it?
Yeah, my experience with the entertainment industry is that one of the big lessons I've learned in this business is fame can build, fame can destroy. And I've seen fame destroy a lot of people who don't know how to manage it. You understand? So the benefit of fame is the goodwill. The goodwill that comes with being a celebrity is huge. People want to do you favors, face recognition, it opens doors, and all those kind of stuff, aside from the fact that you profit from your labor. The downside of it is that it takes away anonymity. You know, it takes away your privacy. Your life is open book. Everybody feels that they are a stakeholder in your private business.
It must be difficult to manage.
And there's nothing you can do about it.
Yes.
Because you're celebrated because of your fans. They are the reason for the season.
Yes.
So that you're big is because they have propped you up. And you cannot call the bluff of those who are holding you up.
Yes.
Because if they leave you, you come crashing.
There's danger.
So you have to find a way to balance it. You understand? Live your life and at the same time make them understand that, okay, while you guys are doing a good job of supporting me, I'm also a human being. I'm entitled to some privacy. So when you see me in an amala joint, I've come to satisfy hunger. Don't ask me whether people like me eat here.
Be there.
No. We are hungry. We are humans.
Yeah, so another question up here is saying that how do you manage when you go through immigration in Nigeria? Do they concentrate and do their job, or they just busy making jokes with Okey Bakasi?
Well, the thing is that, like I said, the beauty of being popular is that you get that face recognition. So people are usually friendly to you when at the point of exit. Most times, entry is a different ball game. So popularity never reach that side. So at the point of exit, they are usually very, very nice to us. And
the issue now is entry. We have to work on that, isn't it? Yeah. So there's another. I'm just taking a couple of questions before I go, because as we wind down, you will give us either an African or Nigerian program, or you decide to give us one of those jokes so that we enjoy it on a Sunday. And of course, you are going to give us your song of the day as we wind down. But let me quickly take this last one. He's saying that, why did you study engineering if you knew from time that entertainment will give you all the fame that has to listen? What is university education? It just certifies. That's why they say certificate. It gives you certification to deal with the vagaries of life. So if you did engineering, medicine, pure arts, and theater arts, these are just the basic and that prepares you for the vagaries of life. Okay, do you have a different perspective to that?
I didn't catch that completely. Different perspective to what particular?
No, I try to answer on your behalf because I just think that university education, especially at first degree level, gives you basic equipment to deal with the vagaries of life. So it didn't quite matter whether it's engineering, you studied first degree or medicine so he's saying, why did you jump? It doesn't matter.
Recently when I did my talent hunt, I went to universities to discover new talents. And I told all of them, I said, while you're here, this environment prepares you to prepare for life. You don't know what form. Especially in Nigeria, where Nigeria determines your destiny. You understand?
Not the other way around.
Not you determining your own destiny. Nigeria chooses for you what you're going to become. So you have to prepare. See this as a platform to be able to do anything. So while you're here, pass through the university and let the university pass through you. Acquire all the skills necessary for your survival, because you don't know what survival will look like until you leave. You don't know where life will drop you. So I studied engineering. I love engineering. The funny one is that the original thing I wanted to do was medicine.
Okay.
Oh yes. Medicine. Till tomorrow I still feel that there's a doctor that lives in me, a medical doctor that lives.
Was it because of gynecology? Was that your
No. That would have been a good one to study though. Who wouldn't want to see 5 women for free? And charge them money while doing that. You understand that? Okay.
So listen, you have a lot of Lagos in you. You have a lot of oour in you. And and you have wafi tendencies. So Okey Bakasi as a phenomenon. You are an oour boy, Lagos boy, wafi boy.
I'm a Nigerian man because I grew up in the barracks. My late dad served in the military. So we moved from barracks to barracks, and you know that every barrack is a mini Nigeria. With all the ethnic groups, religious, and everything represented. So it's difficult to be a barrack boy and still, wear the straight jacket of any particular kind of tribe. So I grew up in Portal. In fact, I've spent the least amount of years of my life in the southeast.
Okay.
My early life started in the north, in a place called Potiskum.
Okay.
From there we moved to Owerri briefly. From Owerri to Rivers State. I finished my secondary school in Rivers, university in Rivers. Then I came to Lagos for national service and I've stayed ever since. So it's difficult to tell if where I'm from. I wear all the and I'm a detribalized Nigerian.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as we wind down Okey Bakasi, are you going to tell us one of those major jokes, or are you going to tell us a Nigerian or African?
Let us do Nigerian proverbs because the jokes are all over YouTube.
Okay.
So anybody who wants to see anyone can go there and just go and see. There are so many proverbs. Anyway, you cannot have good clothes more than a madman and still have more rags than a madman. So you go just now one you go get pass him. Then you get better cloth pass him or you go get rag pass you.
Yes.
You know go get rag pass madman, still get better cloth pass madman.
Yes. That in fact I like that program because apart from the madman, even an older person.
Yes.
That program proverb relates to an older person too.
Yes.
You can have more clothes than an old person, but you can't have more rags because he would have outlived you because it has many things in that wardrobe, isn't it? So as we wind down Okey Bakasi, what would be your preferred Nigerian or classic song for the week?
Nigerian classic song. I'm a fan of Two-Face. He's my very good friend. So if you play me Two-Face, for instance, I'll be happy.
You'll be happy.
Yes.
Thank you very much. We had Okey Bakasi today.
Yeah.
Next week, I'm going to bring you a female CEO. But if that does not quite align, we're going to take the Igbo apprenticeship scheme, and then a week after we'll bring you a female CEO who will describe how do females shatter the ceiling and get to the very top of their career. Thank you very much for listening. This is Dr. Ken. Remember, you are sharper with Dr. Ken. Okey Bakasi, thank you very much for today and have a fantastic weekend ahead of you.
Thank you for having me, sir. Appreciate it.
And that's it on The Discourse with Dr. Ken.